Onegaishimasu. Morning, everyone. Oh, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. This morning, let's read Shukju number 13, The Unity of Calm and Action. Just as top spinning very rapidly mimics a calm state, true calmness is the height of action. As the eye of the typhoon is always calm, movement gains its strength from this calmness. Calmness and action are exactly one. By always experiencing our one point and unifying our mind and body, spare time appears when busy, and we don't lose our calm mind even when facing important jobs. In such a state, we are able to perform extraordinary works. Excuse me. This morning, we are going to address the final fifth of the 5 principles of Shinshin Tuhutsu Aikido, meaning mind, body, unified Aikido. And that 5th principle is lead. And what is it? Lead and move. Thank you, Carlos. Lead and move. Yeah, I think that it's really important to recognize that when we talk about these 5 principles, or any principles for that matter, these are not injunctions. These are not things that Doi Sensei is telling us that we should do. It's easy to read them that way, but you can't do them. You cannot make yourself go to the place of the other person. You can't make yourself respect them. You can't make yourself know their mind. It's not an action you can do. No, these are descriptions of a responsive state of mind. The state of mind responding to the relationship you are experiencing with another person, your partner. So what is it that we're going to be doing then? I mean, there are aspects of practice. We're doing our practice. This is a way of defining our practice. This is what it will be like for you when you are actually practicing Shinshin Tutsu Aikido. You will find yourself knowing the other person's mind. We will find ourselves respecting our partner. We will find ourselves in the shoes of our partner. We will find ourselves leading and moving. It's not that we lead and move. Do you see the difference there? This is very important to recognize. Otherwise, we might be chasing something that we cannot catch. So, here are the 4 characteristics or aspects of our practice. Now, these I didn't make these up. I think I first heard them from Ken MacLeod, who's a person I know who's a Tibetan Buddhist teacher in California. But he didn't make them up either. These are perennial. Never beginning, never ending. These are always the case. 4 characteristics of, or aspects of practice. Number 1 is always show up, right? Not just physically show up, but bring our attention to the moment, whatever it is. Number 2, open. This means, of course, open our hearts and minds. And maybe the way we experience this is by opening our awareness. We say, pay attention. We bring our full attention to the moment. and open this. So we're like a flower that's open so we can receive the sunlight. And number 3 is follow the moment. Again, with our open attention, we follow the thread. We don't lose the thread of whatever's happening in the moment. We're in it. We're loving it. We're enjoying it. We're in the moment completely. And not lost and confused and troubled and resisting. And no, we're just in it. When I was a young man, it was in the groove. But I didn't really realize what that meant. I thought that just referred to listening to music. But music is a good example of that. If you want to get with the music, we have to follow it. We have to be in it, completely experiencing it, letting it in. And then we can enjoy it. And then the 4th principle is to accept whatever is happening and continue. Some people have trouble with that accepting. But accepting doesn't mean following any invitation down the proverbial rabbit hole. No. Accepting means to connect, to be completely present with whatever it is. If we call it good, we're liable to cling to it. If we call it bad, we're liable to reject it. We just see it for what it is, as it is, not judging it to be one way or the other. So it's like having a good time. You can't really make yourself have a good time, can you? You just find yourself enjoying it. You find yourself in a state of delight or enjoyment. And you might try to do something because last time it was fun. It might not be fun this time. Or you might find yourself doing something that you didn't particularly want to do. And then suddenly realize you're having fun. You never know, what it's going to be. But we always think that it has to do with what's happening out there. But what Toy Sensei is teaching us is that everything depends on what's happening in here. It's not what's going on out there. It's our response to what's going on out there. That gives us the freedom to respond spontaneously, to lead and move. It gives us the freedom to be, to have a good time, no matter what is happening, to be satisfied and fulfilled by our life. Okay, so this gives us something to sit with, I hope. So let's do some key breathing to begin with. Leading and moving is following the thread. Of the action. Yeah, so I'm wondering if how did you do it following the thread? So even in meditation or keep breathing, there is the 5 principles of Shinshin Tuitsu Aikido. And in everything, yes. I mean, just like Kakudayo and Shuchuo. Can you infinite largeness, Kakudayo. Can you become that infinitely enlarging, massively powerful, ongoing entirety of the universe? What if that's you? Doi Sensei says in his Keep Breathing Shokushu, you will feel that you are the universe and the universe is you. And you can actually experience this. This is what Kakudayo Shuchuo is all about, right? You experience that you are this universe, Kakudayo. You actually have the experience of being that infinitely immense and powerful. And then Shuchuo, the universe is you. The universe becomes infinitely small in your one point. Can you imagine the intensity of that? The power of that as it condenses smaller and smaller and smaller. Everything that is in our very center of us. I'm just infinitely amazed at Doi Sensei's insight. You know, when I mean, of course, this is not something he invented, but by insight, I mean he perceived that we are the universe and the universe is us. And that's not just, I mean, as an idea, you know, but well, if we follow the thread as we're sitting and don't lose it, then we can have that experience to the degree that our capacity of attention allows us to connect. Don't you think so? Please, someone tell me what their experience of this is like. Olaf, Schubert Sensei, speak up.
Good morning, Sensei.
Good morning.
Yes.
How's Germany?
Infinite.
Just like this. Just like my answer.
Yes. Well, when I do Kakudai Hochuchuho, that is, it's becoming increasingly faster, like just Kakudai Ho, and then it's not so larger and larger and larger and larger. It's more and more. It's not a process anymore. It's just here, and it stays here when Chuchuho happens, and so it's all at once, this feeling. So as the meditation continues, I'm not actually doing that Kakudaiho Chuchuho. It's just when you say Kakudaiho, yes, and when you say Chuchuho, hi, one point is here, but it's all there at once.
That's very nice. Doi Sensei says, that if you have a different experience with Kakudayo and Shujuo, then this is not Kakudayo Shujuo. It's two ways of looking at or experiencing the same thing. So this is a very nice description of that. Thank you. Someone else, what's it like for you?
Good morning, Sensei.
Good morning, Carlos. Sensei.
Yeah, so, it seemed at the end of the mind-body meditation that what you're describing was happening. right? This kind of out, going and going. But it's like, it's almost like, I was lost in that. Like then I wasn't here, right? And so when you hit the sokuboku, right, it was like, oh, right. It was almost like a reverie in this sense. So, I'm wondering if you could say something about that. It's not, doesn't seem to be quite it. What I was experiencing. It was more like being lost in it.
Yeah, you can get mesmerized, I think is the way we say.
Yeah, that's it.
That reminds me, yes, of my time in my 3-year meditation retreat. And when I finally got into meditation, I thought I got into it. When I finally thought, okay, this is what he's talking about. Because I would hear these descriptions, I'd get these instructions, and I took them as instructions. They were really descriptions. And I thought, oh, this is it. And I was truly in reverie. I mean, I was just lost I would learn to hypnotize myself. Sometimes this can happen when we're listening to music. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. It's just that's not meditation. We are not alert. We are not alert to, we are not following the thread. We have lost the thread. And we are off in Yaya land. It's very pleasant and it's fine, but look out. And as you're saying, if you hear those sogoboku and you go, then you were somewhere else. So that can happen. That can happen with thoughts, with a thought thread, like a concept. It can happen with an emotion. It can happen with an intention, a goal. We can lose ourselves in the goal itself. So yeah, this is a really good point, I think, here, because I said it's just like having a good time. But it's not like losing yourself in the good time. The good time is over then. And even people in the mosh pit take a drug, Molly, they take this drug to give them that sense of losing it. They want to lose the thread because they just can't stand it. So we have to be able to be in the thread no matter how challenging our life is, no matter how difficult, no matter how this thing is prying us open and exposing the hot molten, the emotion that we've been carrying for all these years, whatever it might be. Yeah, people. So I don't want people to think from my description of that or what anybody is saying here today, that this is a goal of some kind to become blissfully lost in some way so what Olaf was describing there is not being lost. And it's such a good comparison with what you're talking about there, because it happens to all of us. Carlos, I'm not trying to compare Carlos and Olaf. It happens to Olaf too, I know, right, Olaf? Yeah, so that it's very easy to forget. I mean, some people tend to fall asleep when meditating. So this means that your capacity of attention, your ability to follow, to follow that thread is inhibited. It's a kind of a laziness. You drop away from it and move into a kind of reverie. And ultimately, that's how we go to sleep at night. That's fine. But if you don't want to sleep, if that's not what It's happening in the moment. Yeah, then we have to, the four principles are, characteristics or aspects of practice. Show up, open, follow the thread, and accept, and then move on again. Showing up, opening, following, and accepting. This is a constant mantra. This is a constant thing that's happening in our being, and on and on and on and on. So, this is the end of the 5 principles of Shinshin Tutsu Aikido, of our discussion of them. And so next week, I'm going to change to a different kind of mode, something else we're going to address. I think there's a section of, in my first book, Aikido on Maui, that training manual, it's near the beginning where I wrote down Toi Sensei's 13 rules of instruction, of instructor's 13 rules. And I think maybe we'll take those one at a time and look at them, because they're so revealing, not just if you're an instructor, because you may not be an instructor of other people, but let me assure you, you are an instructor of yourself. And these rules apply no matter where we are on the external scale of our development. These are ways to understand and be inspired by and reveal essential aspects of our self. Thank you very much. See you all in a week. どうもありがとうございました。